It's a fight for this river. It's a fight for our livelihood. It's a fight to be who we've been since time immemorial.
We've got to ensure that the Yurok people and the Yurok decision-making is at the table when decisions are made regarding these natural resources.
I don't think when the dams were first built, they understood the effects that it was going to have. But we see those now. This affected our fish, our salmon, nepui. We can't swim in the river in the summertime. There's toxic algae in there. We have had to disconnect from the river because of the pollution. And for us, that drains our souls.
It had always been a goal of the elders to get rid of those dams. They had never agreed to them being put in place.
They said not too long ago that there were so many salmon in the Klamath River that you could walk across the backs to the other side. But unfortunately, the river's sick and the fish are sick. In many ways, Yurok people are sick.
We had the 2002 fish kill, which killed almost 70,000 adult Chinook fish in our river.
That time was really hard because to us, yeah, those are our ancestors. Those are part of us. And to see that many dying, it was like a massacre.
When all the studies came back and all our fisheries biologists reported back and said, it's really because water is being held at the dam. The river's warm and it's sick and there's not much oxygen and they're having to hole up and that's spreading disease. And once we started to understand it was really all stemming from the dams, that's when the Undam the Klamath campaign really started.
It was really kind of a people's movement. First of all, we pushed our tribal government.
Activism is a big part of our life because we have to fight to get what you need anymore.
Many people doubted and even laughed when the Yurok tribe and the Yurok advocates indicated that the dams needed to be removed. The dams are going to come down in 2020, and various professionals, various scientists, and tribal leaders have come together to make that happen.
I see a beautiful world when those dams are out. I see a restored world, and I see our people restored also.
The previous generations of this tribe really fought for the right to fish. They fought for the right to be here. And so my generation's fight is simply for conservation of the resource. I have 2 boys. They are fishermen at the heart of who they are. I want them to be able to fish. It's not a wild dream. I am on a mission and it will happen. The legacy I want to leave for my boys is a clean, healthy river with fish in it.
I just love being down there and hearing the water run, and fish jumping around a little bit, and an eagle flying by, bear coming up thinking he's going to steal my fish. Perfect day.
We are part of the ecosystem here, and it's our responsibility to take care of it, but also to live here.
When we humans were created, it was the salmon who stepped up to feed us in the beginning of time. And so we've been taught that since they stepped up for us first, that it's our inherent responsibility to stick up for them.
In my day when I was a teenager or a little bit younger, our river was our main highway. And to me, fishing was great with our canoes. We treat them with respect, and we learned that in a sense they're a person. They have lungs, they have a heart, they have kidneys, and that was our main travel. We always had some sort of fishing going on. Something was always happening in the river, whether it's a trout or steelhead, salmon, sturgeon, eels.
The Klamath River is our heartline, and we use the fish in our ceremonies, and so it's important to us spiritually. With the coming of non-Indians into the area and the taking over of the land and the resources that were stolen from us, that caused for a decline in the habitat and in the population of fish. Today we have probably 90% of what we had in the past. The health of the river determines the health of the people, and our river's been very sick, not due to anything we've done, because we've been excellent stewards of the Klamath River since time immemorial, but from other governmental decisions and choosing where the water should go, and they chose not for it to go for the fish in the river.
The Yurok tribe has gone along with many of our ancestral ways of shutting the river down certain times, letting fish pass at certain times, giving them a break, trying not to stress them out. We have open and closed times. We have very strict rules and regulations. We don't want to overharvest. Yurok people have done a really good job at understanding those systems, understanding the fish, understanding what they need.
I would put my life on the line to protect our fishing and water rights because it means so much to who the Yurok people are.
We will always take care of this place because that's our purpose. That's why we're created here.
You know, we'll clean our fish and leave that one for the bear, or the eagles, or the seagulls. You know, everybody gets to come down and have a little feast. And to me, that's a perfect day.
You're gonna copycat me 3 times. We're gonna do this 3 times, okay? So, may we more? Moo we more. May we more? Moo we more. All right. Skuyant. Ayi queen nek now James Jinsa. Kicha ha kumeka pulik la wata Eureka High School. Chi wetek pop sal esi chiguri ukumoy pon.
James Jinsaw is teaching these students an ancient Native American language. It's also his tribe's native language.
All the words in Yurok, I think they're so beautiful.
Yurok is one of 3 world languages offered to students at Eureka High School in Humboldt County. It's one of several public schools teaching Yurok in the far northern region of California.
Not Puri, but Pere. There's a lot of kids that take Yurok that take it because they're curious and they want to find out what it's all about. Wait, Yun.
I can learn Spanish or German anywhere else. This is the only place I can actually learn Yurok. I took it just out of interest in linguistics, and I really do like how it sounds. It sounds aesthetically nice to me.
Other students are learning Yurok for deeper reasons than fulfilling their foreign language requirement.
Probably a quarter of the students are actually have Yurok descendancy. So I think it's just, part of that, trying to find out who they are and find out a little bit more about themselves.
Danny is one of those students who is taking the advanced Yurok language class.
Mr. Jensaw not only teaches the language, but he also teaches the cultures and the stories that come with it. And he has done so much to help this language.
When I started learning this language, all my speakers were all in their 90s. I had a couple that were close to 100 years old. There's only 25 fluent speakers in Yurok.
The language needs all the help it can get. It is on the brink of becoming extinct.
Linguists 25 years ago predicted that the Yurok language was going to be extinct by the year 2010.
The last known fully fluent native speaker passed away in 2013. All that remains today are roughly 30 conversationally fluent speakers, and only several people who can speak Yurok at a high fluency level, with James being one of them.
I think when any endangered language becomes extinct or loses its last speaker, I think that we as humans lose a part of our own humanity.
For thousands of years, the Yurok, whose name means downriver people, thrived in dozens of villages along the Klamath River. It was their lifeline, used for transportation and providing a rich bounty of salmon and other essentials. But the arrival of white settlers and their diseases during the gold rush started the Yurok's decline. Thousands died, and others were sent to boarding schools established by the U.S. government to eradicate the Yurok culture. Children were punished for speaking their native language and forced to learn English. By the early 1900s, only a few Yurok still spoke in their native tongue.
It was like an apocalypse. I mean, our whole world changed. It's a lot of deep wounds, and it's going to take time. It's not something that can be fixed in one generation or 2 generations. I think that all of us are working towards that healing, and I think the language plays an important role in that healing process.
Now, the public school system is trying to help make up for wrongs committed in the past.
I think it's a little ironic that part of the reason that the Yurok language almost became extinct was because of the boarding schools and a school system. But we can use that system, and we can use it as a tool to revitalize our language and kind of breathe life back into the language.
The public schools are an integral part of the tribe's language restoration program.
The long-term goal is for our people to once again be speaking only Yurok as our primary language.
Barbara McKillen is with the Yurok Language Restoration Program, established by tribal elders in the 1950s.
We owe a lot to those elders that had enough foresight to know that we needed to preserve our language.
Like James, she too teaches Yurok. She remembers one student in particular in one of her community language classes she was teaching back in the early 2000s.
He really applied himself, and I hadn't seen anybody like that. He had flashcards. He would write everything down. He'd go home and practice. He'd come back the next week, ready to learn more and use what he learned.
The student was James Gensaw.
It's always a goal of a teacher to have students learn more than you're able to teach them, and he did that.
Menechos, Tiknamaki. To me, I took on that responsibility, and I don't think of it as a burden. I think of it's somebody has to do it, and I think it was just something that I was chosen to do. Kushanake, I want water.
Sustaining and sharing this essential part of an ancient culture with future generations is exactly what Barbara, James, and their students hope is already starting to happen.
I'm taking this class because I am Yurok, and my ultimate goal is to keep the language going, to learn it completely so that I can pass it on to younger people too.
It is part of my culture, and if I can do anything to help it, I definitely will.
The death of a language, it goes hand in hand with the death of a culture, and that should be stopped as much as possible.
Each year, the number of Yurok speakers grows, and this language restoration program is widely recognized as one of California's most successful.
Talk up, get your rest. One day that Yurok language will be a living, flourishing language where it's spoken everywhere.
I know for sure it's going to happen. It may not happen in my lifetime, but our language will be back, our ceremonies will be back, and once again, we're going to be whole. Tewa meshka kitnasa agachintma aya waklau, waklau, waklau.
All those elders, they're up there, Kuwait, Sanan, they're looking down, and I think they're really happy.